Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. Today is Friday, May 18th, and we have UFC Fight Night 129 coming up this weekend from Santiago, Chile, and we are going to analyze the main card, digging around for possible betting value, as we always do, with our returning guest, Andreas Hale. Andreas Hale, thanks for being back with us one more time.
Absolutely. Let's talk about it.
All right, let's talk about it. Now, you and I, Andreas, are on a pretty nice little event winning streak here. We'll see if we can keep it up. This one, though, might be a little tricky because I am seeing a bunch of big favorites that can be hard to negotiate. The first one, the main event, Kamaru Usman against Demian Maia, right? Demian Maia, obviously an awesome, legit veteran, but he's 40 years old. Usman is clearly on his way up, and Maia is taking this one with Ponzinibbio on short notice, with Ponzinibbio canceling and Maia stepping in on 4 weeks' notice. Of course, Maia is coming off of 2 losses to Woodley and Covington. They kind of showed the blueprint for how to beat him at this stage of his career, and feels like Usman will have no problem, at the very least, repeating what they did. So Usman, of course, is a huge favorite. A few days ago, he's minus 550. Now he's all the way up to minus 700 at 5 dimes. I would be willing to take Usman here as a huge favorite, even though most of the time that's not something that I want to do. But now that it's all the way up to minus 700, I don't know. Getting a little bit scary here. What do you think, Andreas Hale?
Yeah, it's a little bit too much for me. I'm looking at this fight. Usman has the tools to keep Maia down. Maia has a hard time with wrestlers. He's a little bit less dynamic than Tyron Woodley, but he still has dynamite in both of those hands as to keep Maia at bay. The only thing is, Usman hasn't fought anybody at the level of Demian Maia. I don't think he's fought a top 10 welterweight. So that's my only concern heading into this fight. He could get a little bit ahead of himself. He could find himself trapped in a triangle if he's not careful. If he does something wrong, Maia could take advantage. But Usman has all the tools to win. It's just minus 700 is just out of reach. I can't take that at all. I prefer to take a flyer on Maia and hope he catches him with like a triangle or something off his back.
All right, so this line is climbing up in Usman's favor. What about a shot with a total? Maybe it feels like maybe Maia will be able to survive for a few rounds. It is scheduled for 5 rounds, and in Maia's 7 losses in his career, 6 of them were by decision, including 3 5-rounders. So he had 3 5-round losses, all by decision. Not necessarily thinking that this fight might be a good bet to go the distance, but at the very least, maybe a shot with the over 2.5 rounds at minus 125. Usman might dominate, but not necessarily be able to get an early finish. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think we have a good shot at the over here. The reason being is just like you said, Maia knows how to go to decision. When he fought Tyron Woodley, he knew how to stay away from that power. And I think Usman's like a diet version of Tyron Woodley, the same type of power, not as dynamic. A very good wrestler, may not be as great of a wrestler as Woodley. So I think we're looking at a similar fight here where Maia will stay away for a few rounds, avoid the takedown at all costs. So I think you got a really good shot at the over, unless Maia does something stupid and tries to strike with him like he did Colby Covington earlier. He'll get knocked out then. But other than that, I like the over here.
Yeah, and I was looking at this thinking about maybe, Usman could get a finish, but then I look at Maia's career, and his losses do tend to come by decision. I think we might have hit on something here, Andreas Hale. I think I'm going to make over 2.5 rounds at just minus 125, an official pick of mine. Again, this one is scheduled for 5 rounds, so any kind of finish in the 4th or 5th round will result in a cash on the over at 2.5 minus 125. That'll be an official pick for me, over 2.5 minus 125. Any official picks from you on this fight, Andreas Hale?
Pete, I'm right at your bumper on this one. We're going to go in this one together. We're going to go with the over.
Awesome. When we have agreed on picks in the last 4 or 5 events, that has been, in general, a very profitable result. Now let's move on to another fight that's an interesting fight. Another fight with a huge favorite, Tatiana Suarez against Alexa Grasso. You know, Grasso is a great in stand-up. She excels in stand-up exchanges. Suarez is undefeated as a pro, but pretty clearly against a subpar competition. Grasso probably counts as the toughest opponent that she will ever have faced, and some people saying by far the toughest opponent that she's ever faced. So maybe this is one of those situations where we have an undefeated favorite here, but with a small sample size, and maybe the line getting a little bit too inflated. A few days ago, Suarez was minus 700, and now just gotten higher, minus 800 for Suarez against Grasso. Again, Suarez undefeated, but only in 5 professional fights. Should someone with just 5 professional fights under her belt be in minus 800 favorite against an opponent who's only lost once?
No, absolutely not. I think
Hmm.
Alexa Grasso was Tatiana Suarez about a year ago. I mean, Grasso was the big hype coming in, and then she lost to Felice Herrig. The same thing can happen here. Tatiana Suarez is a great freestyle wrestler. She's not that great of a striker, so this is where Grasso has a little bit of an advantage here. She's got power in her hands. She can strike very well. There's a legit shot that Grasso can win this straight
Sure.
up. And even when it was in the early line, I thought Grasso had a great chance. I think they were valuing Suarez a little bit too high. So I love Alexa Grasso at this line. Some of you might get paid really big because I think she's got a hell of a shot to win this fight.
Yeah, so Grasso right now is a plus 550 all the way up to 550. I also thought that I'm liking this fight to go the distance, even at a favorite line of minus 225. And if it does go the distance and Grasso does have value at plus 550, Grasso by decision at plus 800 might also have some value. In the last MMA event, there were people saying that Amanda Nunes was just a little bit too big of a favorite, and that did not prove to be profitable to the people who backed Pennington. Maybe this is another shot. We want to take a shot with a big underdog. What do you think, Andreas Hale?
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot with a big underdog. Like you said, Suarez sample size is not big enough for me. She looked great on The Ultimate Fighter. She's looked great in a few fights, but this is a huge step up in competition. And Grasso, like I said, was Tatiana Suarez about a year ago before she faced Felice Herrig. She's a little bit more seasoned now. She's a great striker. We have a classic striker versus wrestler here.
Yeah.
But with this line being the way it is, I've got to go with Alexa Grasso. There's just no way I can pass on this.
All right, that'll be an official pick from you. You want her at plus 550 or with a specific result?
No, I'm going to take it to plus 550 because Grasso does have power. She hasn't had a knockout in a while, but, she can catch Suarez sleeping, and maybe Suarez can catch her. So this might finish inside the distance. I'll stay away from that, but I like Grasso. I'm going to take her straight up here.
All right. I completely agree with you, Andreas Hale. I am not going to take Grasso at plus 550, though, and the reason for that is I lack the balls. I don't have the balls. That's the only reason why, but intellectually, I 100% agree with you, Andreas Hale. I am going to make an official pick here, though. I do think it's going to go the distance. I do think it's going to be a tough fight, a competitive fight, and I'm going to take the fight going the distance at minus 225. Just a 3-round fight, and I'm going to take it going the distance at minus 225. Andreas Hale officially going with Grasso currently at plus 550 to beat Suarez. Now let's move on to another very, very interesting fight. Reyes against Jared Cannoneer. Reyes, of course, has been a master of early finishes in his career so far. Now he steps up against Cannoneer, and it steps up in class, taking on Cannoneer. And this will be a little bit of a litmus test, I think, for Reyes. If he storms through Cannoneer as he stormed through his inferior competition in his previous fights, that is going to be an eye-poppingly impressive result for Reyes. If he struggles a little bit, if it's a lot more competitive, it might indicate that maybe he's not quite ready for prime time yet, and that he needs a little bit more time to mature into a top contender. I guess you would say Cannoneer is a gatekeeper. He has a great mixture of athleticism and kickboxing technique, but he's had kind of mixed results over his last 3 fights. Right now, Reyes is a big favorite, not a huge favorite. I'm seeing a minus 255 right now. Sorry, minus 245 at 5 dimes. What's your take on this one? I'm thinking Reyes probably is the side here. What do you think, Andreas?
It's tough. I think Reyes is a little bit too big of a favorite for my liking because he hasn't faced anybody like Cannoneer yet. And when you have heavyweights fighting each other, one punch can end the night. And Cannoneer has proven to do that in the past. Reyes should have a size advantage. Cannoneer was once a light heavyweight. But it's one of those fights where you see a guy, he feels like he's on the rise. He feels like all the things are right. If it was minus 200, minus 180, I'd take Reyes. Where it is right now, I'm probably going to stay away from this one, but I think we might have a finish in this fight. What are we looking at the under in this fight?
That's what I was thinking about as well. The fight does seem to have, a finish written all over it, and the fight. But curiously, the market is agreeing with us a little bit, but not as drastically as it often is. The fight not going the distance is just minus 140 right now, and the total is just I'm seeing 2.5 minus 115 on the under and the over. So the total at 2.5 has equal odds for the over and the under, despite the fact that at first blush this seems to have not going the distance, not going to the cards, totally written all over it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the under here. I think one way or another, Reyes is a guy who likes to finish people off, and it can make him over-eager, and he could get caught by Cannoneer. It could go the other way where he just finishes Cannoneer relatively quickly. I don't think this thing goes the distance. I like the under here one way or another. I don't think we see either of these guys make it to the final bell.
Yeah, and even if Cannoneer wins, it feels like it's going to be with some kind of counter where Reyes gets caught, and maybe the fight ends there. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm agreeing with you, Andreas Hale. I'm not exactly sure why the total is where it is, but I'm going to take the fight not going the distance, which is minus 145 right now at 5 dimes, and you're going to take the under, Andreas Hale, at minus 115.
I'm going to take the under minus 115. The only thing that scares me about these distance fights, I look at that Derek Lewis fight a few weeks ago when he finished the fight with like less than a minute left. So I think that, I'm going to take the under here. I think that's where we're at. I'm not going to be ballsy as you and go with this thing just ending inside the distance.
Yeah. Okay. Then the next fight, another interesting one: Diego Rivas against Guido Canetti, and Diego Rivas is, of course, fighting on his home turf here. He's also coming back from cancer recovery, so it's a great story for Rivas, and he's younger, probably sharper athletically than Canetti. He has the great story on his side. He also is fighting on his home turf. And, I'm thinking that this fight should probably be pretty competitive, but I'm definitely leaning Rivas here. Right now the line is minus 170. A high line, but I'm not sure if that's too high for me to want to take it. You think Rivas has some value at minus 170?
Yeah, he does. Cannoneer hasn't been that appealing to me as a pick here, and I think he has some good skills, but I think Diego Rivas is just a lot better here. But I just don't know if he's markedly better than the line suggests. Yeah. So I like Rivas, but I'm going to stay away from this one because anything can happen in this type of fight. I don't think that there's too great of a discrepancy between the two fighters' skills. So I'm going to lay off of this one.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think it should be a little bit competitive, but it's hard for me to see Canetti getting a win here. I will go out a limb. I'll take it. I will take Rivas just on the money line, minus 170. Could go the distance. There could be a finish, but I basically once again completely agree with your analysis. But I am going to take a shot here with Rivas at minus 170. Not exactly sure how much value there is in that, but I'm willing to bet that there's at least a little bit. And then we have another fight, right? Veronica Macedo against Andrea Lee, who is of course a big presence on social media, making her UFC debut, and this is going to be a very hyped fight, a fight that a lot of people are going to pay a lot of attention to. Lee, of course, is a big favorite. She was minus 320 a few days ago. Now she is minus 310, so right about where it was. The line hasn't moved that much, but I'm kind of impressed with Macedo. She seems like she has a lot of spunk to her. I don't know if I want her to win here, but I definitely feel like this fight probably goes to the cards, and that Lee in her UFC debut is maybe a little bit cautious, tries to outpoint Macedo and not lose her UFC debut. And I'm thinking that the fight going the distance might be the best way to bet this one, if not taking Macedo as a big underdog here. What'd you take on this one? Another interesting fight from UFC Fight Night 129, Andreas Hale.
Yeah, this feels like a fight that's positioning Macedo to be beat by Lee. So Lee has, like you said, a heavy presence on social media, so I think they want to lob her kind of a softball here. But then again, Macedo's pretty good. So I will stay away from picking either side, but I am with you on this. I think this thing goes the distance. I think Lee is going to be a little bit cautious.
Yeah.
Octagon jitters are definitely a thing here. So I'm looking at these two to be a little bit cautious, and this going the distance.
Yeah, the fight going the distance, when I checked about a couple hours ago, was minus 115. Now it's up to minus 120, so the market is agreeing with us there. That will be an official pick for me. Macedo and Lee going the distance at minus 120. Official pick for you as well, Andreas?
Absolutely. I'm going with you on this one as well, Pete.
Okay. And it also does seem like this fight just has Lee by decision written all over it. And that line right now would be plus 176. The market actually expecting a finish by Lee as a little bit more likely than the fight going the distance. Lee inside the distance is plus 134. Lee by decision is plus 176. And this actually reminds me a little bit of the Lyoto Machida fight from the last event. I thought that one had Machida by decision written all over it. So instead of taking Machida as a big favorite, I took Machida by decision as about an underdog of this size, plus 172. And of course, I had to eat an L for that one, Andreas Hale. But this one again feels like it has Lee by decision written all over it. And if that's the case, you're getting a big underdog line here, plus 176. What do you think about that?
I'm going to stay away from that because I think Lee, she's a pretty good finisher. So it's just I don't know when somebody has their first fight. Things happen. And Holly Holm's a perfect example. She's extremely tentative in the first fight. And then she kind of opened up a little bit later. I think Lee might be the same way, but you never know. The octagon jitters might not even exist with it. She might clean house. Yeah. But one way or another, I just think we're going to have a decision. I think it feels like the safest way to go here.
Okay, Andreas Hale and I both on the fight going to distance at minus 120. And then the last fight on the card is Chad Laprise against Luque. And this is a fight that I'm staying away from. Luque obviously is the favorite here, as he should be, but Laprise definitely has a fighting chance here. Maybe at plus 175, I would take him. And in fact, if you gave me a free play on it, I probably would throw it on Laprise at minus 175, but I'm not going to bet that one. This fight also, as far as going to distance or a finish, is also it could go either way to my eye. This feels like one of the most unpredictable fights on the card, and I'm going to stay off it, although whenever there's a lot of unpredictability, you want to take a big underdog. So I might take a shot with Laprise at minus 175 if you gave me a free play on this one, but I'm not going to bet it, and I'm definitely not going to give an official pick. I'm interested to hear what your take on this one is, Andreas.
You know, it's funny because I'm echoing the same thing here because I looked at this fight and I was like, I don't know how the hell this fight is going to go. Something's going to happen, but I just don't know what. Luque coming off of that big win against Nico Price was very impressive. But then, you know, he's such a big favorite that I'm not sure that he should be this big of a favorite against a guy like Chad Laprise. So this is a fight that I've rolled this scenario through my head a number of times. It can end by submission, by knockout. We can go the distance. And all it tells me is stay the hell away from it. So I'm just going to watch it and enjoy the unpredictability of it. And I'm not going to put my money down on it.
Yeah, I mean, both these guys are on nice winning streaks, looking pretty impressive. And interestingly, the line's getting bet up a little bit. Luque was minus 210 a few hours ago. Now he's up to a minus 225. And Laprise is up at plus 185. You know, Laprise definitely has a fighting chance. At a certain point, I would put some money on him, but at plus 185, I'm going to hold off as well. Okay, Andreas Hale and I once again agreeing on most of this card. Historically, that has been a good thing. Maia and Usman were both on the over in that one, 2.5 rounds. Grasso and Suarez, I'm taking that one going the distance as a big favorite, and Andreas Hale taking Grasso as a big underdog at plus 550. Cannoneer and Reyes, Andreas Hale took the under, and I took the fight not going the distance. Cannoneer against Rivas. I did take a shot with Rivas at minus 170, but Andreas Hale thinks that they're very relatively closely matched up skill-wise, which I would agree with. So he's going to pass on that one. Macedo and Lee were both taking the fight going the distance at minus 120, and Laprise and Luque is a pass for both Andreas Hale and I. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about our analysis. Andreas Hale, thanks so much once again. We'll see how it turns out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.